Hey guys, I made it in time. I'm so happy. Oh my god, I was rushed because I had an appointment. I had to rush so freaking bad. I'm starving, but it's we got 12 minutes. I got the site up for the court where they live stream, and yeah, dude. But what do you guys make? What do you guys think of P Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, whatever you want to freaking call it, the guy? I'm not surprised because we could talk about that real quick. I'm not surprised because as much as I think he's a horrible guy, he's an abuser, he's a R. He could have possibly killed people. Who knows? There's all these conspiracies. But from what we heard from like the case, like the sex that charge, they didn't do a very good job. They didn't have much evidence, I feel like, to prove that. So it didn't really surprise me. I've been telling my mom, I haven't really covered it, but I've been telling my mom as I'm like, I only think I did a couple videos of it since the trial happened, but I've been, listening and telling my mom about it. And I've been telling her the whole time he's not going to get found guilty on those two charges. I said transporting a prostitute is a guarantee for sure. Definitely he did that, and that's what he got. He'll definitely get that. I said I don't think he's going to get the other two. And I was right. Yeah. He got just the 2 counts of transporting a prostitute across state lines. He got not guilty on the trafficking and not guilty on the racketeering. So each transporting could get max up to 10 years per transporting. There's 2 of them. So he could potentially get 20 years. Now, will the judge run them concurrently? Maybe he might just get 10 years, but that's the max he'll get, 10 years per charge on that, which I don't know. He could get you don't have to get jail time for those charges. So he could get 0 jail time or he could get up to 20 years, but it's 2 charges. So if he gets the 20 years, I bet you they'll run him back to back where he'll only do 10 years, just my guess. But that's the max that he could get for those charges. I knew it. Not that I think he's a good guy and he should be out. That guy's dangerous and he's horrible. But the case presented just wasn't it. It wasn't the sex trafficking. I wish that those victims would have pressed criminal charges against them at the state level for abuse, and then he could have got some jail time through that. But Cassie just did the civil for money, not for money, but she just did the civil and got money. So that they just did the wrong thing. I mean, I think that girl, that other victim, they should do like personal charges against him or something. But yeah, isn't that crazy? I wanted him to be guilty. I mean, I think he's a horrible person, but when they were reporting back the evidence, I kept saying, this is not a strong case for sex trafficking and racketeering. There's too many holes in it, too many doubts. Now I think they were manipulated and stuff. But anyway, I'll get back to Kohberger. Sorry, but that just happened today, so it's huge. Hold on 1 second, though. Anyway, oh, it's huge. I know. Not that I'm saying like I think he's a dangerous man, but I'm talking about legally, like for the case that was brought before the jury. When I was hearing the facts of the case, I kept telling my mom wants him to go for life. She's like, oh my God, I hope I go. Mom, I'm listening to this stuff and the charges they have, like they're not proving those charges very well. Like, yeah, for R, if they would have, if like Cassie and the other victims would have went with him for the R word and they would have went after him for abuse and stuff, slam dunk that you would have got it. But that's not what it was. They had to prove sex trafficking and racketeering. And there was too many times where they were going along with it, and they weren't able to prove. Now we know the manipulation and how she probably felt like Cassie probably felt like she had it. Oh, here, let me share my thing. I better get here. Better get ready. Okay, let me get my thing. But yeah, I don't know. I just like I said, there's too many holes and I was afraid of that. I'm like, and then like how they wanted like the racketeering. There were some messages I guess that were saying like, oh, they wanted to like he wanted to keep it from his workers and stuff. There was stuff like that. It's like, dang it. So I'm not a like I don't know. I knew it was gonna be that. I knew it. I just wish that all the victims of him will maybe press criminal charges at the state level on him. And then those will be, I think, slam dunks. But I just feel like they did it wrong by doing the federal big thing like this because they didn't have that was the wrong charges. They didn't have enough to prove that, but they have enough to prove a lot of other stuff. Anyway, hold on. I have to. It's my OCD. I had to make sure I shared my audio again. Okay, it's shared. Anyway, I do. Oh, I do, Susan. I feel for them too. But they still have the option to press criminal charges. Like that anonymous. I mean, she can still. Some of those victims can press criminal charges. I think that's the route they're going to have to go. Um, and I think those will be a slam dunk. But it was just to try to prove like the trafficking and the racketeering. They just didn't have enough to prove it in my opinion. Like, I don't know. I didn't get to watch the trial, but I did listen to, uh, Law and Crime and stuff, and when they were reporting on what was happening, and I was just like seeing certain things, like, gosh, like at one point he was trying to hide like what he was doing from his workers, so that would make you doubt the racketeering charges if they were trying to do it all. Like, there's times where he did have them, I feel like, help, but they like a lot of them said they just thought he liked Astroglide and this and that, and then sometimes it's like, ooh, we got to wait till they're gone or whatever. So that makes you doubt the racketeering charges. And then when you have Cassie and the other victim saying, yeah, like when that points when they were all for doing it, it makes it hard. Not that, but I know, I mean, we know the psychology behind it. Like, she was a victim. She probably felt powerless over him. But I'm just saying, in the court of law, when it's just the facts and they have to, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that there was a good case against them? Is it? Shoot. Okay, then never mind. I do feel for his victims. I'm not saying that I don't. I hope this isn't coming out wrong. I was afraid. Like, I kept telling my mom, like, I'm afraid. Like, I was wanting them to have a strong case because I think he is a horrible, horrible person. And I think he could have even took people's lives. Like, I think that he could have actually murdered people, like had people killed. Like, I think he's that bad of a person. Like, some of the thing about his Kim, like about her mysterious death. Like, I think there's a good chance he could have something to do with that. So don't think I'm supporting him. But what I was nervous about, I kept telling my mom, is like, man, they don't have a strong case on this. Like, they're screwing it up. Either they missed out or they're just not. I don't know. It's like, if I was a juror, I don't know. Like, I'd be like, bring me other charges because these charges aren't fitting, or show me something different. But yeah, and that makes me mad because he is a dangerous man, and he might not even have to do any jail time or 10 years, and he's out doing more damage. Maybe he'll straighten up now and he won't do anything because he'll be scared. um yeah. Anyway, we're just waiting for the Idaho to start here. Ooh, I'm nervous. What's gonna happen? Oh, Instead of like going and playing other stuff right now, I'm just gonna wait because it's supposed to start 3 minutes. I'm just gonna sit here and chat with you guys until it starts because I get too nervous when something's about to start. I can't like go play anything else because I'm like, oh, I don't want to miss a second of it. Um, so I don't know. I think I'm gonna go to Columbus tomorrow morning. I'm not sure. I'm either gonna go tonight or tomorrow morning. But look for my vertical live. I'm gonna do a live. Well, here's the thing. So he can get potentially, like I said, up to 10 years on each of those transport charges because he got 2 transport charges. So he could get 10 years. That's the max you could get on those. So if, let's say, the judge maxes those out and gives him 20 years. Now, a lot of the times when they do 2 charges like that, they run them concurrently where you're only doing 10 years. So I could see if he does give him 20, him running them together where he only does 10. Which, how old is he? Like 50? He could get out when he's 60, but he could just get fines. Like he could just get probation. The judge doesn't have to give him the max. I don't know what I didn't, since we weren't able to see the judge's demeanor and kind of see like, feel him out on like how he's feeling about it, since we can't see any videos. Who knows what, we don't know how the judge, what is the judge going to do? Is he going to make what do you call it out of him? I don't know. But yeah, he could potentially get 20 years. That's the most he could get. But so that's still big. I guess he could run them consecutively and make a. Why can't I think of the word? Oh my God. But I don't, for some reason, I don't think he would run them like that. I don't know why. I could be wrong though. Example. Yeah, he might want to make an example out of them, but maybe not. Yeah, they think he'll probably get released today until sentencing. But I'm talking about like sentencing. He could get 20 years max, but yeah, yeah, he probably will get released. Wonder when the sentencing will be. Okay, let's talk about Kohberger. Sorry. But that just happened. And I was at my appointment and they had told me because they followed. And I'm like, oh, I missed it. Like, what? Me and my mom were talking about it before that. So that just happened. So it's like, I'm sorry, I'm talking about that. I should be talking about Kohberger. Okay, so Kohberger, what do you think will happen? So I was talking to the person at my point, Karen, and she even said the same thing. Like, if it's not in the plea deal of him having to tell specific things, then he's not going to have to give a detailed account of what happened. And she said, it's not in a plea deal. So he can, though. He could always choose to do it. It's not that he's not allowed to tell exactly what happens. I don't think he'll do it here, but he might end up like writing the statement and do it. Like Stephen McDaniel, I'm going to cover that case. He wrote out his account of what happened when he killed Lauren. So he can do it. Bryan might do it, but I don't think he'll do it here. I think he'll just plead guilty. But we'll see. I'll think, Stacy. Hey, my merch, guys, if you guys want to order, Ashley, will you put up my merch? I forget, is it new merch? I forget what I have the link for the merch. But it says obsessive crime disorder, and on the back, wait, I forget what the back says. I don't know what the back says something, but there's a bunch of different ones. No, shoot, no. I just thought about that. Everybody's gonna think that's what I was talking about. Because oh, great, I'm gonna have to answer to a lot of comments, and I don't blame you because I'm doing a video on Kohberger. No, I was talking about Sean Combs. No, he's never getting out, Bryan. No, Ashley, it should be just. I think it's this. Hold on. Oh, I don't remember if it's just this merch, but I don't know if I put it under new merch. It should be the bot thing. Let me see. Oh, you did it. Okay. I don't know though if that's my new one or not. I forget if I made a link to my new one and that's my old one because you mods are usually the ones that are doing it. Why isn't it showing up? Huh? What do I have it under? I don't know then. Hold on, let me go to my Nightbot thing and see. Yeah, so what do you guys think? This is probably going to be a pretty cut and dry thing. In my opinion, I think they're going to do the plea. He's going to plead guilty, and then it's probably going to be over. Unless since the family doesn't want it, it might actually be a little bit different because maybe he will get a chance for the family to say something. Because usually, a lot of these times when there's a plea deal, the family is going along with it. That's what they want. They're okay. They talk it over with the family. So this is kind of a unique thing that I have never seen. Not that it's never happened, that I have never witnessed. Maybe I haven't realized it, but I'm not aware that I've seen anything like this where there's a plea deal that the family doesn't want. So I don't know if they're there in the court. Are they going to like, is the judge going to like have them come up and talk? It could be a little bit different, but normally what happens is they just go over all the details of the charges and then he pleads guilty. But this could be a little bit different. But you know what? I wish it sucks because they do their own cameras. So the cameras aren't the best. If you've seen any of their hearings, it's really far away. I wish they would have let like law and crime and stuff in there doing that because they have good cameras. They could zoom in. I don't know if if the trial would have happened. I don't know if they would have let law and crime do their cameras or they were going to have these because these, I hate when they do it like this. It sucks. Because you just barely see him. You can barely see Bryan. Like you could see him far away, but it's like you can't see his expressions or anything. Oh wait, when I go to Nightbot, oh hold on, let me see. All right, let's see. Merch, commands. Yeah, it should be just we did it right. As we did it right, Ashley. It's just not working. Let me try it again. Try it again, Ashley. I know, but because they are doing it this way where, and I don't know, like I said, if that's how they were going to do the trial too, where they're using their own camera and their own stream. So they don't have like technology and somebody working the camera to zoom in. They just have these standard still cameras that are very far. And that's what we get. Like that's what Letitia, her trial was, because they didn't use like Long Crimes cameras. They just used their own and then but everybody has access to them and anybody could go, you know what I'm saying? With Long Crime is like everybody had to restream through them. But when the courts do it, anybody can have access to it. Letitia did hers from WebMX, I think hers was. WebX, I mean. But yeah, and you remember how sucky that was because they're so far away. When Long Crime does it, they zoom in and they get different angles and stuff. Huh. Well, I don't know why it's not freaking working. Try another one. That's stupid. Let's try the email. Let me try. Remember, there are sometimes there'll be a live here and there where they don't work for some reason. Figures. The time I wear my merch when I never usually wear it. Email works. It's yeah, I'm looking at the command. I'm on Nightbot. That's weird. Let me try it again. Oh, it worked. Okay, cool. Anyway, yeah, I got some good tie dyes if you guys want to check it out. Sorry, guys, just waiting. I'm live on their live stream. They just haven't came on yet. It's supposed to start at 11 their time, which is 1 our time. Let me make sure. Yeah, it's 11:08 there, and it's supposed to start at 11. So it should be coming. I'm nervous. Where's everybody at, you guys? This is huge. I bet everybody else is streaming it too, huh? My goal is to start at least getting 100 people in chat when I do non-Wade lives. If I could just at least get 100 people, that will be, that'll make my day. Help share it out, guys. My algorithm, because my algorithm is so messed up now that I'm really struggling to get it back. So if you guys help share, then it bounces back, but it takes a while sometimes. And I don't know what happened to it, but it's bad. If you guys could help me out, get it back up. Sandra, I'm try, but I don't know. They're kind of strict in Idaho. Remember I told you I tried to order yeah, that's crazy. I'm thinking about that because with Chad Daybell, like his trial, I was just thinking about that. I tried to order like body cams and stuff, and they said no, there's nothing available. But like at trial, we were able to see some of the stuff. So yeah, we might not. Every place is different. I don't know what's gonna happen. Oh, is that what it is? I need to look. Well, you're saying one family wants it. I haven't looked. Hold on, let me look. We'll go over it after. Oh, look at this. It says Ethan Chapins' family arrives at Bryan Kohberger's plea deal. They're there. Hold on, I'll play it in a minute. Real quick. Arriving at the hearing. Just want to make sure it didn't start. Okay. Wonder if all the families will be there. We'll watch some videos like after the hearing. We'll go through a bunch of stuff too. Oh, there's Hunter. Wasn't that Hunter Johnson? Yeah. Oh, still hasn't started. Okay, let's see what else we got. I'll get some stuff ready for when it after. We'll go through it. Ooh. Ooh, I'm finding a few things cool. Like I don't know if I want to start. It should be starting any second. I don't know if I want to start going over like articles and stuff. But I just found. I'll read it after. Oh wait, it's not letting me. I have to pay. I have to pay for it. But wait. I actually have newspaper. I actually have a subscription. I should be able to get it. Hold on a second. It's about his old serial killer expert who taught Bryan does speaks out. But you have to pay for it. But I have this subscription. I think it will cover it. Let me see here. Hold on. I have a newspaper that should cover it. I don't know if it will, but let's see. While we're waiting, I'll get some things ready.
It will come to order. The Honorable Stephen Hitler, presiding judge.
Let me see that. All right, this is CR 0124316665. Defendant is present in custody with counsel, Ms. Thompson, Ms. Jennings, and pardon me, Ms. Taylor, Ms. Massoff, and Ms. Barlow. The state's present with Mr. Thompson, Mr. Horowitz, Ms. Jennings, and Mr. Nye is here as well. Am I miss anybody? I'm sorry.
Ms. Allen is here as well.
Ms.
Your
Allen
Honor.
is here as well. Very well, thank you. All right, we are here today to entertain a change of plea. Before I start, I want to address some issues of concern and otherwise. First, I appreciate everybody in attendance today being on their best behavior. Please, no outbursts or demonstrations. Any such conduct will result in immediate removal and may result in an inability to attend further court proceedings in this case. I want to point out that there have been calls by some for the public to contact me and my office in an attempt to influence my decision-making in this case. This has been extraordinarily disruptive for court staff and the ability for them to get work done, not only in this case, but in other cases where defendants are entitled to have their cases processed, and frankly, as important, if not more so, for victims to have their cases processed in those cases. It's also highly inappropriate. A court is not supposed to, and this court will never take into account public sentiment in making an opinion regarding its judicial decisions in cases. Courts should, and I always will, make decisions based on where the facts and the law lead me, period. I have not read any of the numerous messages nor listened to any of the numerous voicemails that have been sent to me and my staff. Those have all been forwarded to security and, where appropriate, to law enforcement. I ask that you not continue to mount such campaigns or to send me information like this because, again, it is not appropriate and frankly not something I would take into account when deciding a matter in a case like this. I also want people to understand some very basic concepts about the ideas of separation of powers, what the court's duties are, and what the duties and the rights of the executive, or in this case, the prosecuting attorney, is. The executive, the elected prosecutor, is the sole authority in deciding what charges to pursue, including whether, as well as what penalties to ask for, and what penalties to pursue, including the death penalty. This court cannot require the prosecutor to seek the death penalty, nor would it be appropriate for this court to attempt to do that. This court, in considering a plea agreement, if it were to reject this plea agreement, cannot force the state to seek the death penalty. My role and power in considering a plea agreement is extremely limited. My role is to ensure that the defendant's plea is given freely, voluntarily, and intelligently. If those things are met, I can only reject a plea, such as the one in this case, where I'm not being asked to agree to the sentence in advance. I can only reject it, for example, if the defendant does not meet or admit to all of the elements of the crime. That is, I can ensure what is called a factual basis to the plea. Finally, I want to offer my apologies to all the families, including the victims' families, the families of the defendant, for the short notice for today's hearing, and I'm sure what must have been the hurried efforts to get here. I, like most everyone else, learned of this plea agreement Monday afternoon and had no inkling of it beforehand. Prior to that time, I was under the belief that this case was proceeding to trial, as had been indicated, and my staff and I were busy continuing to work on preparations to have potentially 10,000 citizens of Ada County come to jury duty starting in mid-July, with the questionnaire process in mid-July. It was, once I learned of the defendant's decision to change his plea in this case, it was important that I take the plea as soon as possible because of the extraordinary administrative efforts that were otherwise attendant to the process of this, getting this trial potentially underway on time, and including the significant process of bringing, again, potentially up to 10,000 jurors to come in and fill out juror questionnaires prior to the beginning of the voir dire process. And so it was important that we, if we're going to go down this road, do so expeditiously so that we can avoid those costs and expenses associated with that. Otherwise, if it was not going to result in a plea, or if for some reason the plea were to fall through today, that we could continue diligently towards trial at the time specified. And so that obviously required that we act quickly. And so some folks may have not had the amount of time that we would otherwise allow for them to travel here. And so again, I apologize for that. I want to make people aware that during the hearing, if you are to leave the courtroom for any reason, you will not be readmitted during the hearing. Also, when we finish the hearing this morning, I ask that the public and media wait in their seats until the victims' families and the defendants' families and others are escorted out of the courtroom before you start to leave. Finally, I want to acknowledge the trial court administrator and her staff, the Ada County Sheriff, and the Ada County 4th District Marshal Service for the huge lift that they've accomplished in preparing for and orchestrating this hearing today, as well as to all the security attendant today that you see, and some of whom many of whom you don't see, with less than 48 hours notice. And so I appreciate the hard work that they've been doing. Frankly, some of them while they were on some vacation prior to the trial starting and had to call that short. And so I appreciate very much their professionalism and dedication. All right. That said, let's move to the business of today. I understand the state and the defense have reached a plea agreement in this case. For the record, I have a written plea agreement which indicates in sum, the defendant will plead guilty to all 5 counts in the indictment, burglary, felony, and first-degree murder, 4 counts. The state and the defendant stipulate, that is, that the defense is not free to argue for a lesser sentence at sentencing to the following. The defendant on the burglary charge will be sentenced to 10 years fixed, and that the defendant on counts 2 through 5, the 4 counts of first-degree homicide, on each count would receive a fixed life sentence, all 5 of those counts to run consecutive to one another. Defendant, as part of the plea agreement, waives his right to appeal, as well as his right to appeal the sentence and his right to seek leniency or reconsideration of the sentence under Idaho Criminal Rule 35. This is not a Rule 11 agreement, meaning the court is not bound by the plea agreement and could impose a different lawful sentence at sentencing. The stipulated agreement between the parties is the maximum on each count. So theoretically, the only thing the court could do would be a lesser sentence at sentencing. But the defendant is not free to ask the court to do so under the plea agreement. Are there any other material terms of the plea agreement that the parties would like to make? Obviously, the plea agreement, the written plea agreement will speak for itself and be part of the court record.
Not from the state, Your Honor. Thank you.
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, very well. All right. Ms. Taylor, have you had sufficient time to discuss this case and all of its ramifications with your client?
I have, Your Honor.
Have you discussed fully with him his rights, defenses, and possible consequences to him of the guilty plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you been able to do all the discovery you feel necessary?
Yes, Your Honor.
And have you informed your client of the importance of providing the court truthful and accurate answers in taking this plea today?
I have.
Have you apprised your client of any and all offers and counter offers and answered his questions about those?
Yes,
Do you consent to the entry of the plea today?
I do.
All right, Mr. Kohberger, I need to ask you some questions this afternoon, or I guess it's this morning still. I do this to ensure that so that I am assured that you understand the nature of the charges to which I understand you're going to plead guilty, as well as the possible consequences to you of your guilty pleas. I want to make sure your plea is given voluntarily, and I want to make sure that you actually committed the crimes to which you're pleading guilty, because I don't want you to plead guilty to a crime you didn't commit. If you attempt to plead guilty today, but for some reason I don't accept your plea, then it is possible that your statements today could be used against you later at trial. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, thank you. And now, while you're standing, actually, why don't you take the oath from the clerk?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in the matter not given before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, and Mr. Kohberger, just to make it easier, you don't need to stand when you speak to me. I appreciate the sign of respect, but for convenience, you can remain seated, all right? Before I start asking you questions today, have you consumed substantive questions? Let me ask you, have you consumed any alcohol, drug, or other intoxicating substance that would impair your ability to understand or exercise reasonable judgment?
No.
You feel like you are thinking clearly today?
Yes.
All right, I want you to understand what the possible penalties are for each of the crimes to which I understand you're going to offer a guilty plea today. They include on count one, the burglary, a fine of up to $50,000 and a period of incarceration of up to 10 years in the state penitentiary. You may be required to pay restitution to any victims of the crime. Count 2, 3, 4, and 5 for first-degree murder. The consequences include a fine of up to $50,000, a period of incarceration of life imprisonment, which is a requirement of a sentence, that it be a life sentence with a mandatory minimum sentence of at least 10 years on each of those counts. In addition, you would be potentially responsible for a fine of up to $5,000 to each of the victims of your crime to be enforced in the form of a civil judgment to operate as additional punishment. This is in excess of any restitution or fines that the court could order. And again, you may be required to pay restitution to the victims of the crime. You would be required to provide, as to counts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, a DNA sample and a right thumbprint impression, and potentially pay for analysis of those samples. You would lose any right to possess, purchase, or carry a firearm, the right to serve on jury duty, the right to hold public office, and the right to vote. Do you understand the charges and all those possible consequences?
Yes.
You've heard the plea agreement that I talked about today. Do you agree with that plea agreement?
Yes.
And do you understand the nature of the charges that are that you've been charged with that I understand you're going to plead guilty today to?
Yes.
As as I indicated, I'm not bound by the plea agreement, but the plea agreement is for the maximum on each count. Do you understand that I'm not bound by the plea agreement?
Yes.
Has anyone promised you that I would be lenient or easy on you if you pled guilty?
No.
Has anyone threatened you or anyone close to you to get you to plead guilty?
No.
Is anyone other than the state's agreements with respect to the plea agreement, has anyone promised you anything in exchange for your plea agreement?
No.
Has anyone told you to be untruthful in answering my questions today?
No.
Has anyone offered you a reward of any kind other than the plea agreement in order to get you to plead guilty today?
No.
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
And counsel, obviously there have been a number of motions filed to suppress evidence in this case. Other than those filed, are there any other motions that you felt were available with respect to Rule 12?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Kohberger, you understand that by entering the guilty plea in this case, you would be giving up your right to appeal any decision this court made, as well as your sentence.
Yes.
Have you had enough time to decide whether or not to plead guilty?
Yes.
Are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
Given your choices, do you believe it's in your best interest to plead guilty?
Yes.
Have you discussed fully the matter of pleading guilty with your attorney, and are you satisfied with the advice you've received?
Yes.
Has your attorney advised you to your satisfaction about what your rights are, what your defenses may be, and what the possible consequences to you of your guilty plea are?
Yes.
Has your attorney done everything you've asked them to do?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with their representation of you?
Yes.
I have received a written guilty plea advisory questionnaire that is purported to be filled out by you. Did you fill that document out?
Yes.
Did you understand the questions that you answered in this document?
Yes.
And are the answers that are outlined in this document your answers?
Yes.
Are those answers truthful?
Yes.
Did you sign the document?
Yes.
And this document outlines many of the rights that you have in this case. Should you not plead guilty, did you understand those rights?
Yes.
They include a right to a jury trial. Do you understand that?
Yes.
They include a right to the presumption of innocence. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You have the right to require the state to prove your guilt as to each element beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand that?
Yes.
They include a right to confront your accusers and cross-examine witnesses presented by the state, including by utilizing the subpoena power of the court to accomplish that. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You understand you would have a privilege against self-incrimination and a right to remain silent, meaning you would not be compelled to testify if you did not wish to, had you not pled guilty.
Yes.
You understand you're giving up that privilege and those rights that I've just outlined by pleading guilty.
Yes.
All right, I want you to understand what the state would have had to have proven at trial had you, to the crimes that you're pleading guilty to, had you, if you didn't plead guilty. Let me find the document. Hang on a second here. All right. So as to count one burglary, the state would have to have proven that on or about November 13, 2022 in Latah County, Idaho, you unlawfully entered a residence located at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder. As to count two, the state would have had to have proven that on or about that same date in Latah County, Idaho, you did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, kill and murder Madison Mogen, a human being, by stabbing Madison Mogen, from which she died. As to count three, the state would have had to have proven that on that same date in Latah County, at that same address, you did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, kill and murder Kaylee Goncalves, a human being, by stabbing her, from which she died. As to count four, the state would have had to have proven that on or about that same date in Latah County, Idaho, you did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, kill and murder Xana, a human being, by stabbing her, from which she died. And then as to count five, also murder in the first degree, that on or about November 13th, 2022, in Latah County, Idaho, you did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, kill and murder Ethan Chapins, a human being, by stabbing him, from which he died. Do you understand those things the state would have had to have proven?
Yes.
And do you understand that by pleading guilty, the state no longer has to prove those things because you're admitting those things are true?
Yes.
I want to also make for the record, the defendant has provided with the guilty plea advisory form a document entitled Written Factual Basis that purports to have the defendant's signature dated 1 July 2025. Did you sign that document?
Yes.
And did you agree with the written factual basis that is included there?
Yes.
And then let me ask you, did you, on November 13th, 2022, enter the residence at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder?
Yes.
Did you, on November 13th, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, kill and murder Madison Mogen, a human being?
Yes.
And did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, and with premeditation and malice of forethought?
Yes.
Did you on or about that same date in Moscow, Idaho, kill and murder Kaylee Goncalves, a human being?
Yes.
And did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, and with premeditation and malice of forethought?
Yes.
And did you on that same date in Moscow, Idaho, kill and murder Xana Kernodle, a human being?
Yes.
And did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice of forethought?
Yes.
And then on or about November 13th, 2022, again in Latah County, Idaho, did you kill and murder Ethan Chapins, a human being?
Yes.
Did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice of forethought?
Yes.
I would ask the state at this time to provide its recitation of its factual basis had this case gone to trial.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, the organization of the recitation is different than what I think the court and the public may be familiar with from the probable cause affidavit and other documents. The state's evidence, as an overview, would show that back in March of 2022, when the defendant was residing in his parents' residence or was residing back in Pennsylvania, his home state, he purchased online a K-bar knife and sheath with an Amazon gift card that he had purchased shortly prior to the purchase of the knife, sheath, and sharpener. Jumping ahead, the end of June of that year, the defendant, Mr. Kohberger, moved from Pennsylvania to Pullman, Washington, which is right across the state line from Moscow, Idaho, for the purpose of pursuing a PhD in criminal justice at Washington State University. The state's evidence would indicate that beginning July 9th of 2022, Mr. Kohberger's phone began connecting to a cell tower that serves the area of the 1122 King Road residence in Moscow, Idaho. Now, I will acknowledge for the court and all present that there are many residences in that area. It's a dense population of mostly college-related occupants. Between July 9th of 2022 and November 7th, the defendant's phone connected to that particular tower during late night, early morning hours, 10 p.m. to 4 a.m., on approximately 23 times. Now, I will acknowledge also, we do not have evidence that the defendant had direct contact with 1122 or with residents of 1122, but we can put his phone in that area on those times. In the interim, on August 22nd of 2022, Latah County Sheriff's Deputy Darren Duke conducted a traffic stop in the early morning hour or late evening hours, about 11 p.m. On the west side of Moscow, on the Moscow-Pullman Road. This was a traffic stop of Mr. Kohberger's car, which turned out to be a 2015 white Hyundai Elantra with Pennsylvania plates. During the course of the traffic stop, Deputy Duke was able to obtain Mr. Kohberger's name, Bryan Kohberger, his phone number, and his address, which at that point was an apartment address in Pullman. We then move to the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022. The state's evidence would show that early morning hours on that day, Mr. Kohberger's phone left his Pullman residence, which is an apartment in kind of the central northwest part of Pullman. That phone was then subsequently turned off at approximately 2:54 a.m. and remained off until approximately 4:48 a.m. on Sunday, the 13th of November. The state's evidence would include at trial video surveillance of a business on the Moscow-Pullman Highway just across the state line from Moscow. It would show a vehicle matching the description of the defendant's Hyundai Elantra entering Moscow at approximately 3:02 a.m. Compiled surveillance that the investigators put together from businesses and residents then show the defendant's car, the white Elantra, as I've described, circling the 1122 King Road area, that neighborhood, starting around 3:30 or so in the morning. comes into the immediate area of 1122 King Road, which is actually on a dead end, and then leaves several times. And approximately 4:05 that morning, the defense car had entered that area, was leaving, stopped at the intersection of King and Queen Road, did a U-turn, and the state's evidence would show that the defendant's car came back and parked behind and above the 1122 King Road residence. The state believes that its evidence would then show that the defendant entered the residence of 1122 through the kitchen sliding door on the back side of the residence, which is the side of the residence that would face the area above where the defendant's car was parked. Defendant entered the residence, went to the 3rd floor, and with a knife, killed Maddie Mogen and Caitlin Goncalves. The defendant, as he left that room, for whatever reason, ended up leaving, or the sheath for a K-bar knife was left on the bed next to Maddie Mogen's body. And I can jump ahead. That sheath was tested by the Idaho State Police Forensic Lab, and single source male DNA was found on the snap of that sheath, as well as blood from both Kaylee and Madison and other trace evidence. But it's important to note single source male DNA was on the snap of that sheath. The state's evidence would show that Xana was still awake at this time. In fact, had taken a DoorDash order not long before this started. Her room was not on the 3rd floor. It was on the 2nd floor on the west side. As the defendant was either coming down the stairs or leaving, he encountered Xana, and he ended up killing her, also with a large knife. Ethan Chapins, Xana's boyfriend, was asleep in their bedroom, in her bedroom, and the defendant killed him as well with a large fixed blade knife. Each victim suffered multiple wounds. I will state for the record that there is no evidence there was any sexual component or sexual assault on any of the victims. I want to make that clear so there's no speculation. There were 2 other roommates in the house, and they were already asleep. During the course of this, one of those roommates awoke, looked out her door not knowing what was going on, and saw the defendant, who was dressed in black with a black balaclava on, holding some sort of container in his hand. And she saw him leave the house through the direction of the kitchen where that sliding door is that I mentioned before. At approximately 4:20 that morning, so this would have been 15 minutes or so later, defendant's car is seen on a surveillance camera for 1112 King Road, which is immediately next door to the west of 1122, leaving the area at a high rate of speed. And if the court were to see that, or anybody in this courtroom would see that, you can see the car almost loses control as it makes the corner, heads north, and then turns to go south on Walinta, which is one of the only ways to get out of that part of town. The evidence would show that following that, the defendant in his Elantra drove south of Moscow. We know that he drove on the back roads because there are surveillance cameras on the main highways, Highway 95, that would have picked up the defendant's car if he'd gone that route. And they did not show the defendant's car on that route during the time. So we know that he went through a variety of back roads in very rural, isolated part of Latah County. About 4:48 that morning, defendant's phone comes back on. And the evidence will show that that phone was located south of Moscow, likely at a side road intersection with Highway 95. From there, the defendant's phone activity tracks heading back north towards Pullman, Washington, where the defendant lived. About 5:26, starting approximately 5:26, various surveillance cameras in Pullman, Washington pick up the defendant's vehicle as he enters Pullman from the south and heads north and slightly west towards his apartment, where he arrived at approximately 5:30 in the morning. Later that morning, Sunday, the 13th of November of 2022, Mr. Kohberger's phone returned to the area of King Road. We don't know exactly what he did, but it returned to that area. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning. He was there for about 10 minutes and then returned to his Pullman residence. About 9:30, the state's evidence will show, evidence taken from the defendant's phone, that he took a selfie of himself on his phone in what appears to be the bathroom of his Pullman apartment with a thumbs up. The defendant's phone then went to the Lewiston-Clarkston Valley, approximately 30 miles south of Moscow and Pullman. And the defendant is actually seen with his car at various businesses down there. This area is the confluence of the Clearwater River and the Snake River. Lewiston is Idaho's seaport, large bodies of moving water down there. In addition to tracing the defendant's activities, as I've just outlined, on the 13th and leading up to the 13th, the state's evidence will show that following Sunday, November 13th, 2022, business records show that the defendant began searching for a K-bar knife and a K-bar knife sheath, as the state believes, to replace the one that was left at the scene of the murders. The evidence also will suggest that there were at least attempts by the defendant to delete or alter his purchase history on Amazon, where all these transactions had occurred. Later that week, the state's evidence will show that Mr. Kohberger went to what we would call DMV, motor vehicle licensing here in Idaho, in Pullman, to change his car registration from Pennsylvania to Washington. That's of note because Pennsylvania cars do not require a front license plate. The vehicles seen on the surveillance cameras of the defendant's car showed it didn't have a front license plate on it. At the time of the traffic stop by Deputy Duke in August, it was Pennsylvania plate, no front license plate. Mr. Kohberger proceeded to finish his semester of studies at Washington State University and returned to Pennsylvania for the holidays. Law enforcement at this point were aware of Mr. Kohberger, had been accessing information about him, were trying to find him. They located him in Pennsylvania, and they conducted what's called a trash pull. During the nighttime hours, agents of the FBI, who assisted immensely with this case, working with the sanitation department back in this neighborhood in Pennsylvania, took trash that had been set out on the street for collection, sent the contents of that from the Pennsylvania residence of the defendant's parents to the Idaho State Forensic Laboratory, where the lab experts there were able to identify DNA on a Q-tip as coming from the father of the person whose DNA was found on the knife sheath that was next to Madison Mogen's body in the bed. Subsequently, an arrest warrant was issued here in Idaho, and a search warrant was issued in the state of Pennsylvania with the assistance not only of the FBI, but the Pennsylvania State Police. Mr. Kohberger was arrested at his parents' home to return to Idaho. Upon his return to Idaho, a DNA sample was taken from him, and it matched the DNA found on the knife sheath next to Maddie's body at the crime scene. I can tell the court and the public, the weapon itself, the knife, has not yet been recovered. I can tell the court that the defendant's apartment in Pullman was searched, as well as his office. Spartan would be a kind characterization. There was virtually nothing there. Nothing of evidentiary value was found. And of course, we are now talking 6-8 weeks after the time of the killings. In Pennsylvania, the defendant's car was seized, and it was actually pretty much disassembled internally. And it also had been cleaned. There was a bucket of cleaner right beside it. I think we can all look to our own cars, you know, in those compartments in the doors. You can try to keep them clean where you put stuff. There's always some degree of crud in there. They were spotless. The defendant's car had been meticulously cleaned inside. And the state would present to the jury that that was part of the defendant's plan in covering up this. The defendant has studied crime. In fact, he did a detailed paper on crime scene processing when he was working on his pre-doctorate degrees, and he had that knowledge and skill. So, Your Honor, at the end, the state submits that the evidence that I've given just a quick overview of, and that to present in court would consume weeks, which the state is prepared to do and has been prepared to do, would show that as the defendant has just admitted and pleaded guilty on November 13th, 2022, excuse me, Mr. Kohberger entered the residence of 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho. He did that with the intent to kill. We will not represent that he intended to commit all of the murders that he did that night, but we know that that is what resulted, and that he then killed intentionally, willfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice forethought, Maddie Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, Ethan Chapins, and Xana. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, based on the state's proffer and importantly, based upon defendant's explicit admission to committing these crimes, the court finds there is a factual basis. Therefore, with respect to count 1, burglary, felony, how do you plead, Mr. Kohberger, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 2, murder in the first degree, as it relates to the murder of Madison Mogen, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 3, as it relates to murder in the first degree for the murder of Kaylee Goncalves, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 4, the first degree murder of Xana Kernodle, a human being, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 5, the first degree murder of Ethan Chapins, a human being, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Right. The court will find that the defendant understands the nature of the charges and each offense and the possible consequences to him of his guilty plea. Court finds that there is a factual basis for the plea and that finds the defendant believes the plea to be in his best interest. I find that the plea was given freely, voluntarily, and was intelligently made. I accept the plea. I direct that it be entered. I'll continue the matter for sentencing in this case. I think it was mentioned on the call Monday afternoon, the defense wishes to waive a pretrial investigation. Is that accurate?
Yes, Your Honor.
The state also?
Yes, Your Honor, the state does not believe pre-sentence investigation is needed, given the evidence that is available. We want to, though, make sure that all of the victims have the opportunity to make statements to the court at sentencing.
Absolutely. And certainly both the state and the defense may present whatever sentencing memorandum and other documents you wish me to consider. The victims will be given an opportunity to provide the statements that they wish to at sentencing. Do we need more than 1 full day for sentencing?
I do not believe so, Your Honor. Obviously, we have numerous victims, and we have victims who share unique perspectives on this, and we want to make sure that they all have time to express their feelings to the court. But I believe that if we can start perhaps 8:30 or so in the morning, that we should be able to complete it all in 1 day.
Defense agree with that in terms of the time frame?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So as it happens, we have some time reserved in this case in July and August. The week of July 22nd is available. I don't know if that's too soon for the parties or the next week, the week of August 4 is available. Any preference?
Your Honor, we're prepared as soon as the court wants to schedule it.
The state, I believe, would be prepared on the 22nd. We've told the victims' families that we're looking at approximately those dates.
All right. So because of the plan to bring in so many jurors to fill out questionnaires, I had ordered that no other trials could take place in this courthouse the week of July 22nd. And so we will use that in terms of the sentencing date because of what I'm sure will be the significant interest of the media and the public and the logistics that will be required to make that happen. without trials going, it'll be a lot easier to do that. So let's pick that week. Why don't we pick July 23rd with the idea that if for some reason we don't finish, we could continue into the 24th. We'll start at 9 in the morning. Does that give your team enough time, Sandra? 9 in the morning? All right. Any concerns with that date?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
No, sir.
All right. Any reason why I should not rescind the non-dissemination order at this time?
You're right. I think that given the history of this case, it would be best if that remained in place through sentencing. So we have time to make sure there's the ability to completely answer questions. That would be the state's preference and recommendation.
Would have no objection for the order to remain in place through
All right.
sentencing.
I will, at this point, the idea to keep it until sentencing, which time it would be withdrawn in order to give the parties the space and time to prepare to meet what I'm sure will be the deluge of media requests. That's at least my preliminary decision at this point. We can always revisit if it seems to be, for some reason, I should. That said, obviously, I don't think the defendant, a bond was ever set for the defendant. Were it would be revoked. The prior order allowing him to come in civilian clothes is revoked, given his plea and no longer the presumption of innocence. And in fact, now the actual conviction for the crimes. He will continue to be held at the jail pending sentencing. Is there anything else today?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
I assume that the trial date will be vacated
trial
and those
is-
4 jurors will be released.
The trial will be vacated, and I'm sure that the jury commissioner will get word to those that receive their summons that they won't be required to attend. So
Thank you, Your Honor.
that said, again, if you would all please wait for the parties and the victims' families and others to leave the courtroom before you do, I would appreciate it. And with that, we're adjourned. All right, please.
Wow. What do you think? So 23rd, I'll live stream that too. Yeah, but you know he's not gonna do. He's gonna do the max. So that's what he laid that out at the beginning. I think maybe some people got confused. He said that the plea deal says life sentences, but he's not bound to that. He could go less than that if he wanted to. He makes the final decision, but most of the time they take the recommendation of the state. So yeah, Bryan's not. He's getting life for all of them. With no parole, no appeal. That's what I think. I don't think the judge is going to make it less than what they recommended. That would be really disrespectful to the family. That'd be horrible if he did. But he's just saying legally, he's not bound to what the plea deal. He could always go less. You know what I'm saying? He makes the ultimate decision. He can never go more because Bryan accepted the plea. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that would be, if he did, that would really be sucky. Anyway, wow, dude, his demeanor is so odd. Like it was like almost like that he was acting like the way he got up, like he was just like so excited, not in a way. I mean, I know he wasn't smiling or anything, but it was almost like he was like, yes, guilty, guilty. Like it was like something like, not that he was freaking pleading guilty to murder. It was very odd, very odd. What do you guys think? Yeah, I'm so glad because I was just so nervous that because of all these support he's getting from all these channels, that because I mean, this case is huge, so there's going to be hard to find a jury that hasn't heard anything, you know, that he was small chance that he would get not guilty and then we would have a freaking serial killer out on it, because I so strongly believe that he's the guy, and now we could say it, nobody could get on us about it because he pled guilty. He said he's guilty of the charges and he didn't hesitate. It's not like he's like he was anxious to say guilty, guilty, yes, yes. Like, he did it. Nobody's going to plead guilty to 4 murders if they didn't do it, and I hope everybody now just admits that he did it. Yes, that's exactly, with pride. Yes. Weird. Like, who stands up there like prideful? Yeah, that's the perfect word. Like, who stands up there and does that about murdering 4 people? It was disgusting. And then did you see the way the lawyer Anne looked at him when the judge was asking him if she like talked it over with him or whatever? Did you see like the weird smiling, almost like a lovey, not like I think that it's like love as in like a sexual relationship, but almost like a really good close or mothered son or something like it. This weird, like, I don't know. It was weird to me. Oh wait, Susan. So wait, did you used to think he was innocent or something? Is that what you mean? I don't know, Sandra. I don't think he's getting parole. When the state told the family, they said no parole. I don't think so. He's not getting out. Are you kidding me? You really think that he's going to only have to serve 80%? Even if he did get parole, which I don't think he did, I think you're mistaken on that. But I mean, I'll admit if I'm wrong if it ends up being that way. But even if he did, there's no way they'd parole a murderer. But I think it's no parole. I mean, that's what the state told the victims' families. I don't know. I'm going to disagree with you on that, but we'll see. There's no way he's getting out. Absolutely no way. Parole or no parole, that murderer is not getting out. No parole board's going to let somebody like that out. But I don't even think I don't think he's up for parole. Yeah, I don't think so either. Jenna, me and you think alike, I feel like, on this case. I've been seeing your comments and I'm like agreeing with everything you're saying. But Sandra, I mean, we'll agree to disagree. You're fine. I mean, it's fine. You think something different. And if you're right, I'll admit it when it happens. But from my understanding, there's no parole. Well, he hasn't said it yet, but from my understanding, the original plea was no parole. Now, like the judge says, he could do whatever he wants, but I think the judge is going to take the recommendation of the state, because 9 times out of 10, they do the recommendation. It's very odd if they don't. Yeah, I think it's just him. But that is weird that they didn't mention the DoorDash driver. But maybe because they're trying to protect her now that it's over, if they mention her, then people are going to be getting on her about that. So maybe it was for protection of her, because now it's known who she is. But you would think, I mean, they said about the roommate, so never mind. You would think that they would have included that when they're saying like, oh, he doing the timeline. You think he would have said, and the DoorDash driver, or they could have even just been more vague and just said another witness saw his pulled up next to him or saw his car. They did, but they didn't. So I don't know. Was she lying? I don't know. But now she'll maybe do interviews, but like, are we going to know if she's lying or not? I don't know. Yeah, I think she did. Who's Mr. G? Mr. Oh, okay. Wonder if they're there. Okay, hold on. Let's look at some stuff. So after I get done with this though, I'll clip out like just the hearing and re-upload it for on the pre-record, and I'll zoom into Bryan. I'll make his face like where we could see him clearer. But I do, before I end this, I want to go over, hold on, let me go over and see different things. I want to see if I could find out if Goncalves was there. Hold on 1 second. That's just wow. Wow, they haven't. Let's see, June 30th. Okay, this is what I'm looking at right now. Let's look at it together. So it says, let me make this bigger. I'm on their family page. It says, it says, we've had so many people reach out. Also, people say how they can help. And it says, we stand strong that it is not over until a plea is accepted. We will not stop fighting for the life that was stolen unjustly. If you feel called or moved to try to make a difference, please contact the Ada County Courthouse to express your thoughts and feelings. Ooh, that judge was mad. So they were the ones kind of getting people to call. If you feel called, well, we are cognizant that some may have wanted the plea. The prosecution relayed to us it was not a majority vote that was the deciding factor in offering this plea. At a bare minimum, please require a full confession. Require full confession, full accountability, location of the murder weapon, confirmation the defendant acted alone, and the true facts of what happened that night. We deserve to know when the beginning of the end was. I agree. I wish they would have added that stipulation in that he has to actually give the specifics of the case, because how proud and excited he was to say, yep, I did it. He might actually do it. He might actually have agreed to do it. And you know what? He might still do it on his own. You know what I'm saying? He might end up writing a letter to the families or write a letter to the court or whatever. And actually, you never know. With all that time, maybe in a couple of years, maybe not right away, but maybe eventually he will end up giving his account. But that would have been a good stipulation. I do understand these answers may not have been given. Answers may not have been given through trial, but that should be the minimum price to pay for his own life. It's not over until it's over. We still have time to fight for a chance to heal. If you feel called or led, please contact those responsible for the decision. Okay, so let me see. And then this says, the Goncalves family, this is 4 hours ago, is pleading with the Judge Hippler to deny the plea deal this morning. Ooh, it says, right now, we dig our heels into the earth and carve a line deep in the dirt. This ain't justice. No judge presided. No jury weighed the truth. But I almost think it's better that the person admitted it, because then it's like almost like probably a punch to the stomach if he keeps saying, I'm innocent. And then, oh, okay, the jury decided. But I almost think, and I'm not saying this is just my opinion, I haven't been through any of this, and I'm not telling them how to feel. But just in my opinion, I would think that I feel like it would feel better for the person to take accountability than 10 jurors or 12 jurors to decide on it. But that's just me. I mean, maybe maybe most people don't think that way. I don't know. But like, I've never been in that situation, so I don't know, the situation. But think about this though. You know how they want all these specifics? If they would have went to trial and if he was found guilty, we still wouldn't know the specifics of why he did it. He's not going to, there's no way he would take the stand. I guarantee he wouldn't have taken the stand. So it's not like that's a part of the trial where he'll go up and be like, oh, I did this, this, and this because of this, this, and this. That still wouldn't be an outcome of a trial. You know what I'm saying? So at least with him admitting the guilt, I feel like it might be more likely that in sometime in the future that he will give that account because he's admitting he did it. But that's going to have to come from him because only he knows what happened that night. So that wouldn't have come out at the trial anyway. Even if he was found guilty, we still wouldn't know why. Says Thompson robbed us of our day in court. No negotiations, no jury of our peers, not even the pretense of cooperation and fairness. Cowardly men, gutless men, they scatter like roaches when the battle closes in. And Thompson, he's retiring on this deal. His shadow slithering toward the exit, leaving only the stench of his betrayal. No spine, no shred of honor. He didn't have the basic decency, the plain human courage to face the families, to meet our eyes and ask, how do we make an offer that works? Instead, Thompson cut his deal with the devil. His negotiations didn't require anything other than a simple guilty plea, allowing him the leeway to blame the same people you are paid to protect. Who is he blaming, though? He's blaming Bryan. You betrayed us, Thompson. Your deal fails to shield the innocent. You could have stood tall and made damn sure the blame stayed where it belonged, not on us. What am I missing, though? Where is their blame on them? How is this blaming them? I must be missing something. I mean, I get them being hurt and surprised, but why are they saying Thompson's blaming them? Did I miss something? This is our courtroom now, this moment, this stand. Our voices ride to every American who will listen. We would have provided protection for the roommates, the best friends, the falling vet, God rest his soul, and every soul affected in our shattered community. We would have carved our terms like sacred commandments, etched deep into unyielding granite, a testament to those we've lost and the justice they're owed. First, truth, spill it, BK, every sickening detail, only the killer could know. The kind that twists your gut just to hear, but turns even a simpleton Kohberger against you. Second, you bear the guilt, all of it alone. You don't get to smear the survivors, the ones still waking in nightmares born on your reckless choices. Third, no cashing in on our grief, no books, no private interviews with your ex-professor. No one is allowed to study you because you're not special. You don't get to spit on our kids' graves by making this all about you. Only Hitler can step into this void, mend the wreckage. Thompson left in Leyta so-called justice system. This is what the murder victims' families' negotiation looks like. It's ugly, it's raw, it's wild, it's anything but easy. Yet you, Mr. Thompson, didn't even bother to negotiate with us. So this is all we have left. There is no more time for us to wait for you to make a stand. So we stand in your place. Kaylee Jade Goncalves, we love you, baby. You deserve better than this justice system. Your soul is not Thompson bargaining chip. We do not accept plea deals signed in your name. We're screaming for you as loud as we can. Kaylee Jade is better than this. This is our last shot. Judge Hitler, you are our only hope that our child murderer isn't granted control over his destiny, our child's murderer. In our children's name, you take control of this deal, make it right. Given the link to contact United States Department of Justice. I don't know. I guess I look at it different, but But a trial, he wouldn't have to give details either if he went to trial. It's not like the trial is going to make you give details. That's the thing. So either way, we weren't going to, like this, I feel like this outcome gives a better chance that since he admitted guilt, that maybe he will give the details. But a trial, he wouldn't give the details. We still wouldn't have why. It's not like he's going to go and say it, because if he went to trial, he's saying he's innocent. So the trial wouldn't have produced his account. And we saw the state just labeled their case. It's basically everything we already know. I'm even sure there's, more details within it, but they don't know what he did with the murder weapon. They don't know why he did it. They don't know what he did with the clothes after, you know what I'm saying? Only he knows that. And he wouldn't have had to say it after a trial. So I do wish they would have put that stipulation in, but for the plea deal, but I mean, Maybe he will, guys. I mean, maybe he'll end up giving the truth. Oh, yeah, outside of court. Okay. Is there a bunch going on outside of court? All right, hold on. Let's rewind it. Let's see if Goncalves, are they there? Yep, that's a Goncalves. They're here. They're there. I'll check other channels too, but they're not saying anything. It doesn't look like they're saying anything anyway. Let me see if there's. I don't know. I just. Oh. Ooh. I have a video. Let me. I have another video I want to play, but I'll wait to see. I'm going to play another. All right, let me see this. This seems like a little bit better. But look, there's a picture. Oh, it won't show it. They had a good picture of Bryan. Anyway. This is better. Oh, this is before. Okay, let's do after court. Here we go.
The man accused of killing.
Yeah, I wonder if they probably are going to have a little press conference. Maybe the state or the defense. I don't know. Who's that? Come on. Why is this freaking jerky? You're going to back up. Who said that? Huh. I don't know, guys. I want to hear what the other families. I know Cornoto's did that. There was a quick article, but I actually want to I hope we can get to hear their thoughts, the other families. I actually have an interview. It's a part of an interview I saw from Maddie's dad. I'm going to play in a minute about it. Looks like it's really quick, but I'm definitely going to play it. Let me see if I can find anything else while we're waiting. Oh, wait. Here's an interview we could watch while we're waiting. Maybe you guys can inform me when the press conference is going to happen. But look, let me play this real quick. Make sure there's not a commercial. Hold on. There's a commercial. Give me 1 minute.
To chew gum once I'm training, and so I typically.
I'm going to play this, and then I'll. When it comes on. Okay, hold on. Oh, I'm trying to pause it. Okay, here we go. Let me play this for you guys real quick. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I hit the wrong freaking button. I'm gonna have to watch the commercial again. Please don't make me watch.
Remember that project? That expand.
I hit the wrong button. Sorry, guys. When it comes on, though. Oh, skip ad. Okay, here we go.
For now, quadruple murder suspect Bryan Kohberger will go before a judge. He's expected to plead guilty for the brutal killings of 4 University of Idaho students.
Oh,
The father of one of those victims, Steve Goncalves, just spoke to reporters outside the courthouse.
What do you want to happen? Why do you want this to go to trial?
Because then my peers of this community will decide that he's guilty. We could take it out of frickin' Thompson's hands. One man shouldn't decide what 4 souls are worth.
Jonathan Hunt is outside the courthouse in Boise. Jonathan.
Harris, and the conversations with Steve Goncalves have been very interesting over the last 48 hours, of course. And one of our crews, led by Chanley Painter, my colleague, caught up with Steve just before he walked across to the court there. And he told her that in his view, the prosecutor quote, has done a deal with the devil, clearly meaning there that he considers Bryan Kohberger the devil. Bryan Kohberger, of course, we believe in just about 30 minutes will enter the courtroom behind me here and will plead guilty to those 4 felony counts of murder. The Goncalves family is just one family, of course. We have to point out that we've also seen the Chapin family going in today, the family of Ethan Chapin, the young man who was murdered. The Chapin family say they have agreed to and support the plea deal. The Mogen family, the family of Maddie Mogen, also killed in that house in Moscow, Idaho, back in November 22, also say they support the deal. But the Goncalves family have been outspoken throughout this in being critical of the way the entire prosecution has been run over the past 2.5 years, and they are clearly angry. I can tell you this, that Steve Goncalves escorted members of his family up to the courthouse door, and then he himself turned around, walked back here past our cameras. He is refusing to even go inside the courthouse as a form of protest against this deal. So that is one voice. There are others who support this deal. It is obviously a very emotional day indeed for the families of all of those victims. And what a lot of them, I think, would have liked to hear as part of this plea deal, even if they were going to support it, was Kohberger being forced to explain why he did what he did, why he chose their children as victims. As we understand it from the reporting of Fox Digital, he is not going to be required to offer that explanation as part of this plea deal. What the families might get, Harris, in about a month's time, if indeed Kohberger does go through with this change of plea in about 30 minutes' time, there will be a sentencing hearing towards the end of this month, we understand. And there, the victims' families will be able to make victim impact statements. Then they'll get the chance to look Kohberger in the eye and say, this is what you took from us. Harris?
Yeah, they deserve.
I'm going to stop because that's just all before it. Let's see what's going on outside. Nothing yet. Okay, so I want to play this video real quick. It's supposed to be, it looks like Maddie's dad comes on for a minute.
The man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students back in 2022 will plead guilty to the murders. Bryan Kohberger is expected in court tomorrow to finalize the agreement, which will spare him the death penalty. Let's bring in CBS News' Anna Schechter. She's a senior coordinating producer of the Crime and Public Safety Unit here at CBS News. Anna, good to see you. So remind us again the details of this case and what transpired to lead to this guilty plea.
Well, 3 years ago, these 4 college students were murdered, stabbed to death in their home off campus. They were all students at the University of Idaho. And investigators found surveillance footage of a car that looked just like Kohberger's car circling around, driving by, cell phone pings. They also found a knife sheath with his DNA on it that they said matched an Amazon.com purchase of his, a knife with a sheath. So investigators and prosecutors have pulled all of this evidence together, and a trial was actually set for August. So this news that broke late last evening really has shocked folks in the community, the victims' families as well. You know, we'll talk about that in a moment, but really surprising turn of events in this case.
Yeah, so you mentioned the families are responding, and a lot of them seem to be very unhappy with what has been decided by the prosecution. What can you tell me?
That's right. Well, Kaylee Goncalves' family put out a statement saying they actually doesn't
fast
seek,
forwarding a little bit.
The justice that they felt they were promised.
We already read that. I want to see what
family, they
Mogen
were looking forward
says.
to having a trial, and they were also in favor of the death penalty being on the table. But the families, our own Jonathan Vigliotti, spoke to the father of Maddie Mogen. I think we have a soundbite from him. He felt relief upon getting this news.
That's what I would feel.
I think it's justice when you don't have to torture families that have been already through the most horrific thing they could ever imagine. And I don't want another day of this. And they're talking about decades. No.
He doesn't want to
see half and half. 2 of the families wanted it, 2 didn't. So they can't be that mad because, I mean, they could be mad, but it's like, if they would have not taken it, they would have made the other two families disappointed. So, I mean, it was split down the middle between the four families. Now, I want to see Coronado a little bit more. I mean, we saw the TMZ interview, but I would like to see it come out a little bit more about how Coronado's feel to confirm that they are upset about it. But it's like half and half, so they would have upset either way. I don't know. I thought they were all going to feel the way Maddie's did, but it's okay. I get it. I just hope, I hope as time goes that they will be okay with it. I had that
Mr.
picture I was trying to
the
look
man
at.
accused of killing
Anyway, okay, so look at this. Let me show you. Where is it at? Right here. Well, not only do they have this has a little bit better view, but I wanted to show you something else. Wow, that's loud. Oh, that's. Whole family. Oh, I don't know.
Is this justice?
No,
No.
no, we're going.
Are you guys
Keep
going to be in
going.
the courtrum today?
Keep going.
Some of us will.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah, I heard you might protest
Head
outside.
forward.
You're not going in.
Head up. Keep going.
I saw your post. You said it's the judge's meeting.
Up. Yes, it is. Up. You want to go in with us, or you move it in here?
Text me if anything comes up or you need anything. You still have time. Yeah, send me the
I got you. Where's Aunt Tammy? She had to go to the handicap. Okay.
Want to do that? Yeah. Just give us some space, guys. Yep.
Steve, you still planning to stay outside? You're right.
right now.
You're not holding out hope still?
I'm staying outside as a former protester. Then our interview. Yeah. They just agreed on something and then they just. We didn't agree on anything. He only negotiated with the murderer of our children. That was the only person that he negotiated with. He didn't give us the common courtesy to negotiate with us. He didn't pretend. He could have just pretended and then lied, but he didn't even pretend. He basically said, your guys' input isn't needed.
The judge could hear one thought from you, but he should remember, what is it?
He's going to own this. He's going to inherit what Thompson did. He's the only one who can fix it. He's the only one who can make it right. He needs to protect those other surviving victims and make this person say that they had nothing to do with it. He did it solely. He did it all on his own, and nobody else was responsible. And then we won't keep having these supporters always saying that he got set up. We know what he's planning on doing. Somebody died, a vet died, and he's going to try to say that, put the blame on that person. So he's not going to take accountability. And Thompson didn't force him to take accountability. He didn't even negotiate. That's terrible.
You don't think 4 life sentences is justice?
No, of course not. It's daycare. Prison is daycare, people.
If you could tell the judge one thing today, what would it be?
Do what's right. Do what you know. 4 people died in their sleep. If we had 4 other people that weren't college students, this would be the death penalty.
What do you want us to know about Caleb today?
Caleb would be ashamed of what happened today.
What do you want to happen? Why do you want this to go to trial?
because they're my peers. This community will decide that he's guilty. You can take it out of freaking Thompson's hands. One man shouldn't decide what 4 souls are worth.
You said they made a deal with the devil.
Yeah, they did.
What does
That's
that mean?
Thompson. Thompson made a deal with Kohberger. He was the only person that was considered.
What do you think of the other families who are glad this is happening?
Well, that's good enough for their kids. Doesn't mean it was good enough for mine.
Do you have any message for Kohberger's family?
Yeah, what do you want Kohberger to know?
We know when you flew out here. We know. We have your flight records.
How are you preparing to see him today?
I'm not going to say.
When you say you know the flight records, what do you mean, Steve?
I know when his parents booked their flight. When his father did.
What does that mean?
You're fine.
Would you like to say something to them?
The rest of your family went inside. Is it important for them to be in this day?
Where are you going? Are you not able to get in? You're not staying in? Steve,
Guys, move.
would you be
Get out of the
willing
way.
to come? Okay, can't chat. I just want to say hi.
All right.
Steve, I'm going to leave.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do interviews like when this thing's over. We'll come out here with our kids, and we'll meet them. But I can't do this for 2 hours, guys.
Have a nice day. Be safe.
Not really. It's just I don't want to participate in Bryan's deal.
It's understandable. I'm absolutely a father of a daughter myself. She's 1 year old, and
Is that yours on your top?
yeah, and I can't imagine,
Man, brother.
I cannot imagine what you're going through. I won't pretend to know.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
With that being said, good seeing you, Steve.
Hey, go Boise, man.
Go Boise State, right?
I love those
Yeah.
boys.
Yeah, you're going to talk to us this afternoon. What time you think you'll be able to talk
Yeah,
to
we'll
us?
probably be back in like an hour when the court starts, and then we can go out there and we'll deal with all this. I just stayed right there.
I got you. How's the family holding up?
We're all disappointed. We're very disappointed. We worked too long, too hard for half-ass efforts.
Is that directed towards Judge Hippler?
Hitler hasn't done anything. He inherited this. Hopefully he can fix it. I'm not blaming nothing on Hitler. I'm putting this all on Thompson and Kennedy. You know, they tore that house down. They've done everything to hide this. Why did this get done over the weekend? As soon as the investigation starts, they're cowards. They're running from it.
Yeah.
I'm not supporting them.
Okay. Thanks, Steve. We'll talk to you later.
Have a good one, guys.
I'd appreciate it if you
guys left us here.
Oh, what do you guys think? Hey, I paid for the New York Times so I can read this article. The things you do. That's why I have so many subscriptions for my channel to get things. So I wanted to read, and usually it's only for like one thing. Like, when else am I going to need it? Until the next time. But it's an article. It's supposedly, the title is the serial killer expert who taught the Idaho killer shares her story. So let's check it out. Hopefully it's worth it, because I just paid for it. All right. All right. I gotta remember to cancel it right away. Yeah, I know. I see both sides. I do. But now that I see it was 2 and 2, half split down the middle, I mean, they were going to disappoint one of the sides. And I mean, I don't understand why. No, I'm not gonna. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. I just hope they start blaming the real person. The real person they should be mad at is Kohberger. Kohberger, he's the guy. He's the killer. You know. Oh, thanks, Jenna. I know, me too, Secret Forest. But I mean, they had to do what they had to do, and 50% of them wanted it, and I don't blame him for taking the deal, to be honest. I mean, it saves money, time, re-traumatization, the chance that he gets found not guilty, the chance that he may not even get the death penalty because that's a whole separate hearing. Even if he's convicted, they could not convict him on death penalty, which he has that autism factor that could go against the death penalty. I mean, depends what the jury would decide. And then all the appeals for 20 plus years. And then the chance that it could actually move to life without parole anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it's like all these things that's going to be drawn out for 20 plus years. It's over now. You know, I know it's not over for them. They got to grieve, but now they are able to like grieve, know that he took accountability. And I don't know. I mean, I guess in their eyes, they're thinking death on death row is much more harder than in prison. I don't know. I've heard both. I've heard people say that death row is easier than prison, but I have recently been hearing more people say that death row is harder than prison as far as like when you're on it. So I don't know what the truth is. I've never been on death row. But oh, thank you, Jenna, and thank you, Smashing Blouse. But I don't know. I mean, there was still a chance he could have got found not guilty. Now hearing them lay out the case, they didn't have any like surprising smoking. I mean, they did. I think it was still a strong case, but they laid it out as basically what we've already heard. So there was still a small chance that he could have got found not guilty. Then what? That would have been horrible if we had him. If he was out on the streets, can you imagine that? Can you imagine if he got found not guilty and he was out in society, how the families, like what that would feel like for the families? Like that would be horrific. Like I couldn't even imagine that, like being a family to begin with. But then if for some reason he got found not guilty and him being out on the streets in society, imagine what that, oh my God, like that would be unbelievable. There's always that chance. Look at Casey Anthony. I mean, so yeah, I think this guarantees that that's not going to happen, but okay. So Idaho Killer shares her story. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Dr. Catherine Ramsland was Bryan Kohberger's professor before he moved to the Pacific Northwest. I'm going to turn this off for a minute. Where he is expected to plead guilty to the killing of 4 University of Idaho students. So I guess that's a picture of her speaking at 2016 at Penn State Berks Reading. Okay, the news first came in a phone call. Dr. Catherine Ramsland, one of the nation's most prominent experts on serial killers, got word from a colleague that her former student had been arrested in the stabbing deaths of 4 University of Idaho students. It left her completely stunned, she said, and then she doubted it could possibly be true. I thought they have to have this wrong. Dr. Ramsland said in an interview, this has to be wrong. It's not the Bryan Kohberger that I know. At DeSales University, where Mr. Kohberger got a master's degree in criminal justice in 2022, Dr. Ramsland is a professor of forensic psychology who has written extensively about high-profile murderers, including an examination of the serial killer known as BTK. Her books include The Mind of a Murderer and How to Catch a Killer. Over the years, Dr. Ramsland said she has always kept aware of the prospect that people might take her courses and learn the methods of serial killers in order to build on their own nefarious ideas. But she said in her time with Mr. Kohberger, she never had that concern. He was very polite, respectful, seems genuinely engaged with the material as a potential researcher, teacher, somebody who was interested in a career, she said. After Mr. Kohberger's arrest in December 2022, weeks after the murders in Moscow, Idaho, she expected he would clear his name. But then she found it odd that Mr. Kohberger was not offering an alibi. When one finally did emerge, more than a year after the case began, Mr. Kohberger said that he had been out driving around the night of the killings. I thought, that's not an alibi. And you know it's not, Dr. Ramsland said. She has declined interviews until now because she was possibly going to be called as a witness in Mr. Kohberger's case. although he is now set to avoid a trial as part of a plea deal. Dr. Ramsland still declined to discuss specifics about his academics because of student privacy laws. Months before the killings, a Reddit user who identified himself as Bryan Kohberger asked people who had spent time in prison to take a survey about crimes they committed. The survey listed Mr. Kohberger as a student investigator and asked respondents to describe their thoughts, emotions, and actions from the beginning to end of the crime commission process. Dr. Ramsland said that kind of survey might look suspicious in hindsight, now that Mr. Kohberger has been charged with the crime. But in criminology department, that type of research has been common for decades. Dr. Ramsland said that in the aftermath of Mr. Kohberger's arrest, she reached out to his family to offer support, but she said they have not remained in touch. She has not corresponded with Mr. Kohberger since the spring of 2022, before the killings, but said she wanted to try to connect with him in the future to better understand him. In the meantime, she said it made sense to her that he had decided to enter a guilty plea rather than go to trial. I wasn't surprised by the plea once the judge took away every option, that he couldn't use his alibi, he couldn't use an alternate suspect. There's nothing left, Dr. Ramsland said, and now he's facing a lot of evidence piled up in the death penalty. So it did not surprise me. Okay, well, what do you guys think of that? Let me cancel my thing. Account settings. Let me cancel it. Okay, make sure I don't get charged for the months after. Hold on. Manage accounts. Manage subscription. Anyway, what do you guys think of that interview? So she would have been a witness, like, for the defense, it sounds like, because she's like saying she didn't think he did it. So I'm sure the defense was going to use her for, like, to show that. Great. It's one of those things where it's not easy to cancel. Gosh darn it. I want to cancel it. I hate that. Like when it's not. Most of them are though, but this isn't letting me. No. All right, I'll try to do it later. Okay, let's see if I'm going to put back on the outside the courthouse while I try to figure this out. I got to be able to figure this out because, okay. Oh, shoot. Here, somebody's talking. Hold on, guys. Don't leave. I'm going to put this back on. I'll rewind it a little bit. Somebody looks like he's talking. I don't know who it is. I can't tell. Okay, here we go. That's Maddie's mom right there. That was Maddie's mom.
Good afternoon. I'm Leander James from the law firm of James, Berman and Weeks, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I'm a victim's rights attorney. For the past few years, I've had two of them. We're going to recommend a case now. It's a criminal case for Xana and the loving mother and stepfather. I will be giving a statement of gratitude today. We continue to shower them with our prayers. We are grateful for their prayers, love, and support they have given us. They have helped us stand up for us. We are grateful to the prosecutor, Will Thompson, and his dedicated and caring team, including victim coordinators in the state, who have helped guide us through the sometimes confusing and disorienting legal process. Thank you for all your dedicated, diligent, and tireless commitment to justice and the successful outcome reached today. We support the plea agreement 100%. While we know there are some who do not support it, we ask that they respect our belief that this is the best outcome possible for victims, their families, and the state of Idaho. We appreciate the difficult work you have done to balance the rights of all involved and to uphold the rule of law. You have had our prayers and support throughout this case. We send our love and gratitude to the many family and friends who have supported us, cared for us, and helped us to heal our open emotional wounds. To the good people of North Idaho, who have showered us with kindness and support, we thank you. We also mourn today with you the recent tragic and senseless loss of two brave North Idaho firefighters. We extend our prayers and support to their families. You are not alone. We understand your pain. For all parents who have endured the loss of a child, we know recovery is a long and at times an almost unbearable journey. But you are not alone. And there is hope and there is healing. We thank those in the press who have respected our privacy.
A better one that here, let's do law and crime. Here's a better sound one.
Ago, we lost our Maddie, our kind, loving, vivacious, and caring daughter full of purpose and promise. We are grateful for the gift of her life, and we have grieved the loss of that life during each of these 962 days. We love you, Maddie, and we miss you. We are grateful for the gift of the young, vivacious, promising lives of Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. And we deeply, deeply mourn their senseless loss. We remain in solidarity with their families and friends, and we continue to shower them with our prayers and support. We are grateful for their prayers, love, and support that they have given us. They have helped us and sustained us during our darkest times. We are grateful to the prosecutor, Bill Thompson, and his dedicated and caring team, including victim coordinators, Kim and Stacy, who have helped to guide us through the sometimes confusing and disorienting legal process. Thank you for all your dedicated, diligent, and tireless commitment to justice and the successful outcome reached today. We support the plea agreement 100%. While we know there are some who do not support it, we ask that they respect our belief that this is the best outcome possible for the victims, their families, and the state of Idaho. We extend our deep gratitude to the many law enforcement officers and staff who worked tirelessly to obtain the critical evidence that brought justice today, including the Moscow Police Department, the FBI, the Idaho State Patrol, and the Lehigh County Sheriff's Department. We are deeply grateful to Judge Hippler and Judge John Judge before him. We thank you for your diligence, thoughtfulness, and judicial guidance. We appreciate the difficult work you have done to balance the rights of all involved and to uphold the rule of law. You have had our prayers and support throughout this case. We send our love and gratitude to the many family and friends who have supported us, cared for us, and helped us to heal our open emotional wounds. To the good people of North Idaho, who have showered us with kindness and support, we thank you. We also mourn today with you the recent tragic and senseless loss of two brave North Idaho firefighters. We extend our prayers and support to their families. You are not alone. We understand your pain. For all parents who have endured the loss of a child, we know recovery is a long and at times an almost unbearable journey. But you are not alone. And there is hope and there is healing. We thank those in the press who have respected our privacy and the grieving process, and the privacy and grieving process of the families of Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. To others in the press, we gently encourage you to do the same. We thank the many people across our nation and beyond who have reached out to us, prayed for us, and extended their kindness. You too have helped us on our journey to heal. We now embark on a new path. We turn from tragedy and mourning. We turn from darkness and uncertainty of the legal process to the light of the future. We have closure. We embark on a path of hope and healing. We invite all of those who have mourned with us to join us, and we wish you well. Thank you. I will now share a few words of my own. Over the past 2 years, I've been amazed and humbled by Karen and Scott's strength, endurance, and faith. They have uplifted me and so many. They founded a nonprofit to help others in the name of Maddie. They have been a beacon of hope amidst a dark and tragic time. To those young and bright attorneys out there looking for purpose and meaning in your profession, I invite you to join the effort of crime victim attorneys to bring victims justice with compassion, empathy, humility, and understanding. This case is not the end of violence. This case is not the end of lawlessness. We need your help to bring hope and healing to the innocent caught in the crossfire of life. Thank you all.
Sir, could you just say your name one more time?
Leander James, Leander, last name is James. Thank you.
Hold on 1 second, guys.
You've been listening to a press conference by the family of Maddie Mogen. That was their attorney. Her mother, Karen, her stepfather, Scott. You can probably see them right over here. We're going to walk a little bit as they walk, but they are walking as people follow, and they were devastated by this. Maddie Mogen was the only child of her two parents, Ben Mogen and Karen. She was mostly raised by her stepfather, Scott. And so it's just been a devastating loss for them. Maddie was a beautiful, beautiful young woman, as you know. And Bryan Kohberger, as we heard today and suspected, went straight to her bedroom that morning on November 13th, 2022, and took her life. So we're gathering here to see if they would like to speak or say anything. We're standing here to see if they would like to speak or say anything more. We'll wait here for a moment, but I think they're probably getting ready to leave and probably don't wish to speak. Karen Laramie has been very, very quiet throughout this whole process and has declined to speak throughout. So we know she's going to be appearing in the Amazon Prime documentary that's coming out. She has not wanted to grant interviews throughout any of this, but we will be seeing her in that program. So she's continuing to walk to her car, make her way home. We know she'll be here for the sentencing on July 23rd. Well, it appears actually that they're going back into the courthouse at this point in time. Okay, so there you have it. So the sentencing of Bryan Kohberger right now, as I told you, he's in the Ada County Jail. He's been held there for some time, ever since the venue was changed to Ada County. And he will be sentenced on July 23rd. There will be no pre-sentence investigation in this case because he's getting 4 consecutive life sentences, life without parole. So that's what will be happening here. We will be back here on July 23rd covering that for you. He is going to prison forever for the murders of Maddie Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle. I want to thank our guests today, both Mark Weaver and Colin Schmidt, and thank you for submitting all of your questions and for watching us as always. I'm Anjanette Levy. Thanks so much for being with us. You can go back and watch our coverage on YouTube from earlier today and watch the plea hearing. We'll see you back here next time.
See, Sandra, there you go. It's no parole. Oh, thank you. So there's that. Thank you so much. I have one more thing to share, and then I think I'm going to end it because I want to do a pre-record. But I wanted to read, this is their statement, Coronado. So we heard from Coronato's aunt. Thank you again. So there's that. I appreciate it. You're always supporting me. That's awesome. So remember, the TMZ was Coronato's aunt. This is actually Coronato's father's statement. So it's a little bit different. Okay. So it says, I want to share a brief statement ahead of the plea deal. The defendant is expected to officially enter tomorrow. So this was yesterday, right? I do not agree with this outcome and express my concerns before the deal was negotiated, especially regarding what I believed would be the best capital punishment. After nearly 3 years of waiting and being told there would be a trial with evidence presented to convict him, I'm disappointed in the prosecutor's decision. It's incredibly hard to accept that a trial won't be happening. I had hoped the agreement would include conditions that require the defendant to explain his actions and provide answers to the many questions that still remain, especially where evidence is missing or unclear. I also believe this was a missed opportunity to set a stronger precedent for how accountability should be handled in cases like this. It could have sent a message to others that these kinds of horrific crimes carry real consequences. Instead, 4 beautiful lives were taken, and the person responsible won't be used as an example to help prevent something like this from happening again. Xana is missed every single day. Her absence has left a hole in my life, and this decision only adds to that pain. Still, this week I'll be celebrating her life through Xana Palooza, honoring her birthday on July 5th by doing the things she loved most. As hard as this is, I'll continue to carry her light forward. Xana's story deserves more. Jeff Coronado. Okay. Oh, here's here's Mogen family statement. Our family, here, I'll make it bigger so you guys could read with me. Our family continues to ache for Maddie, and we have spent well over 2 years grieving and focusing on healing from the trauma of losing her. The plea deal the prosecution has proposed is one that punishes the perpetrator of this horrendous crime, protects the public from further harm, and allows all of us who knew and loved these 4 young people the time to grieve without the anxiety of the long and gruesome trial, years of appeals, and potential for mistrials along the way. We thank Bill Thompson and his team for their dedication and painstaking work that forced the perpetrator to admit his guilt. May we all protect our peace in whatever way possible. Unite in community and focus on joy. Please do an act of kindness in Maddie's honor this week so a glimmer of Maddie's light may live on. Maddie's father, Ben Mogen, and family. Here's for the Kohbergers saying, press release from the Kohbergers. In light of recent developments, the Kohbergers are asking family members of the media, or asking members of the media for privacy, respect, and responsible judgment during this time. We will continue to allow the legal process to unfold with respect to all parties and will not release any comments or take any questions. We ask that you respect our wishes during the difficult time for all those affected. So that's the Kohbergers statement. So yeah, I mean, I think, it looks like I'm gonna end it. Doesn't look like there's much more. I'm gonna do a pre-record and condense all this stuff kinda. Oh, I guess they're still alive on this. Oh no, I'm behind. I don't think there's gonna be, I don't think that the state or anybody's gonna do a press conference because they would have been out by now. So yeah, this just ended. All right, guys, well, have a good one. Look out for my live, my vertical live coming up. And my pre-record, I'm gonna do a pre-record on this, and I'll see you guys on the 23rd. Well, I'll see you before the 22nd, but or 23rd, but I am gonna live stream that too. So, and thank you guys for the super chats. You guys are the best. Jenna, Smashing Blouse, and so there's that. You guys rock. And yeah, I'll see you guys when I'll see you. Look out for my pre-records though, guys, because I am gonna be probably putting out pre-records this week for sure. So I've been doing like condensed Lori Vallow stuff, all my past, like condensing some interesting things with Lori Vallow. I'm still gonna do the McDaniels. I still got the Wade stuff. And if there's anything, any good interviews with the Kohberger situation, any families, I'll maybe pop on and do those or pre-records. But don't forget to look for let me show you. So those of you guys here, let me show you actually where it's at. Cause I don't know if everybody knows. Like if you go to my homepage, okay, well, let me share. So if you go to my homepage, so you have videos. Okay. Those are my pre-records. So you actually have to go to the videos to see the pre-records, and then the lives are my lives. So there, and then you have the shorts. But so you go home, and the home's, that's just a mix of a bunch of stuff. I always like to go, if I want to see a pre-record, go to the videos. If you want to see lives, you go to the lives, and then shorts, obviously. But okay, guys, don't forget to look at pre-records. And oh, I know, I'm glad you're liking those. All right, have a good one, everybody. Bye.